those technical difficulties. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mame, Drame, and today I would like to share with you all a journey, one that begins with a simple morning routine. This morning, I rolled out of bed after snoozing my alarm one too many times. I brushed my teeth, I ate breakfast, and I prepared for the day ahead. Likewise, many of you probably have the same similar morning routines. Each one of us has intricate factors that impact our lives, leading us to this moment here today. Today, I'm grateful to look around this auditorium and see a diverse array of ages, genders, races, and life experiences. While we may share certain similarities, such as selecting what to wear for the day or sleeping in too much, each one of us has personal factors that have impacted every step of our lives. Now, depending on who you are or where you are in life, you may find yourself in a situation where you are encountered with facing change. This could be through a new leadership role or a task that demands your attention. Some of us may approach these opportunities with determination and eagerness, ready to take the challenge head on. While, on the other hand, some of us may wrestle with doubts, thoughts such as, why me? Who am I to create change? My thoughts won't matter. Change is only for those in power. Personally, I found myself in the latter position. I believed I wasn't capable to create a lasting impact within my community. I thought change only came from those in power or with a title. But as I grew and navigated through the difficult experiences of life, I realized that change would have drastically impacted myself and helped with these difficult experiences. For context, I am a first-generation Senegalese American born in Overland Park, Kansas, a population who's nearly 80% white. Growing up, I attended a couple different preschools and elementary schools, which is a typical experience among most individuals. Though on the first day of 8th grade as a new student, I didn't quite understand why my new peers were exchanging puzzled looks of confusion and unknown when I was first introduced to the class. As a young student, I just thought I needed to be friendly and get to know my peers to make new friends. Yet, when I got comments such as, why does your hair look like that? And why is your skin so dark compared to mine? It became clear that I wasn't just the new kid in class. It became evident that I was new in their world, as I was one of the only Black girls in the whole grade. Once this realization set in, I automatically felt inferior and different from my peers, which is a tough feeling to stomach as an 8-year-old. These experiences, among many, are the very daunting ones I've experienced that are similar to other experiences that colored people experience when living in predominantly white areas. These feelings of inferiority are hard at any time, but are only intensified as a child. Now, as a junior in high school, I'm entering my adolescence, and I reflect back on my formative years with greater clarity. I now realize that if my school had celebrated and encouraged diversity, these hurtful actions and comments most likely would have never taken place. I, along with other students of color, wouldn't have felt alienated in a place that is supposed to welcome all. With this newfound yearn and push for change, I no longer found myself believing I wasn't capable of instilling change within my community. Instead, I began asking myself, how can I rise to the occasion? What can I do to make sure that future generations of colored students don't feel marginalized and lesser than? With these new thoughts and inspirations, this led to the foundation of the African Student Association at my school, a club that recognizes, celebrates, and educates about African culture. Through the African Student Association, essential conversations surrounding race and culture are frequently held, creating an environment that is inviting, allowing students to feel comfortable about their cultural background. Had diversity been celebrated instead of shunned and questioned during my formative years, I, along with these other students of color, wouldn't have felt lesser than our peers. After coming to this understanding, I realized that my prior thoughts on change had completely transformed. I no longer thought that change was only for those in power. I now realize a vital moment. Change doesn't only reside within those who have power or authority. Change resides within our own experiences. I now know that experience is what truly creates change. Now, to further develop this concept on experience creating change, we must first define what change is. According to Google, change is replacing something with something else, especially something of the same kind that is newer or better. In simpler terms, the basic definition of change is about replacing old systems. Now, while in some cases this definition of change may stand true, when it comes to making an impact within your community, we must delve deeper. Rather than continuing the cycle of replacing old systems, we must now innovate and implement a new system that doesn't build upon these previously broken systems. So now that we know what change is, where does experience play a role? Experience is the helping hand that helps guide us in knowing exactly where change is needed. Let's say one day on your way to work, there's a huge pothole that you have to drive over in order to enter the parking lot. By driving over the pothole, your coffee spills all over yourself and your work supplies. So the next morning, you decide to implement a change in your morning routine. Instead of pouring your morning coffee into a mug, you decide to pour it into a tumbler with a lid. Now, whenever you drive over the pothole, your coffee no longer spills everywhere. This simple, everyday encounter is a prime example of how experience is a leading hand that helps you decide where change is needed. Now, whether this concept is applied on a large scale, such as creating clothing line for tall people after never being able to find clothing long enough, or simply putting a lid on your morning coffee, experience is the guiding hand that helps you pinpoint where change is needed. So where does this lead us all today? Circling back to morning routines and every action we do leading us to where we are today, take some time to reflect on your past. Think about some experiences and factors that impacted who you are as a person. Had things been different back then, would you have had a more pleasant time? What would have aided you in becoming more successful? What could have helped create a lasting impact on your experience? Using these questions and applying them to your personal life will allow you to analyze exactly where change is needed. Now that you know where change is needed and what change is needed, you now have the perfect recipe needed to create change. Today, I invite each and every one of you to analyze your personal life. Think about factors that have impacted who you are as a person. What could you have done to make that experience different? What could you do for others to make sure their experience is better than yours? Together, let us work together to cultivate an environment that embraces diversity, empowers individuals, and works together towards a better future.